Constitution of the United States of America, Donald Trump has shown us in his first term and in this term, he is not loyal to people like you. He will cut you loose. This may be the last time I have a hearing with you because I don't think you're long for your job. But I'm going to tell you this. I pray for you. I pray for you that you can step up and defend your oath, defend the Constitution, and do a much better job.
What happens when a United States senator spends several minutes demanding direct answers from the FBI director and keeps getting responses? He says, dodge the question. That's exactly what unfolded in one of the most intense oversight hearings we've seen this year. Today, we're breaking down every major moment, what was actually said, and why this exchange is fueling debate across America. Before we dive in, welcome to Blue Flash. If you enjoy honest political analysis, thoughtful commentary, and the biggest moments from Washington without the noise, make sure you subscribe, leave a like, and turn on notifications. Let's get into it.
I asked you whether you had any knowledge or discussions about removing FBI officials and installing political personnel before you were confirmed to that position. And I wonder, did you then understand or have conversations with the White House about the intentions to do so?
Before I was confirmed?
Yes, sir.
Did I have discussions with the White House to remove FBI personnel?
Yes.
No.
So you're saying that you had no discussions with the White House before you were in the position about the removal of any personnel from the agency?
As I was preparing for my confirmation hearing, I had numerous discussions involving the type of people that would be employed, and that those that were failing to meet the mark at the FBI would no longer be employed if I were confirmed.
And I'm assuming that mark had to do with loyalty to the Trump administration.
No, you're wrong.
Okay. I'd like to revisit another subject from that hearing. Did you testify, you did testify before the grand jury that President Trump had declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Is that correct?
I don't have the grand jury transcript. That's why I released it. Whatever it says is the best evidence.
That's what you said to Senator Whitehouse, that your grand jury testimony was publicly released. It has not been. In fact, in July, a court denied a news outlet's bid to get that transcript. But the court said quite clearly that you are free to discuss your grand jury testimony. So I ask you again, did you testify before the grand jury that President Trump declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified document case?
And that is why I took your invitation to work with the department and the court to have that transcript released. And the transcript is the best evidence of what I said then.
So you're saying right now this committee can have access to what you said before the grand jury?
To whatever was released. Under my understanding, Senator, that the Department of Justice...
You and I both understand the law. Let me finish. I understand under Rule 6 of the Federal Rules of Procedure, a grand jury witness, in this case you, is not barred from sharing their grand jury testimony. This is an oversight hearing. This is germane to your integrity and credibility. You know right now whether or not you testified that President Trump declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Why are you refusing to answer that simple yes or no question right now?
Because the premise of your question is inaccurate, and there is
no premise to my question, but trying to get to an order of what is truth or not.
How do you How do you know what was asked in the grand jury if you weren't there?
Mr. Patel, this is a mockery you're making of this hearing and simple questions.
It's a simple question. If you have
Mr.
a transcript,
Patel, during
you can
your
read
nomination
the question, but you don't have it.
You promised that, quote, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. When I asked you, are you aware of any plans or discussions to punish in any way, including termination, FBI agents or personnel associated with the Trump administration, you explicitly said under oath that you were not aware of any plans to punish FBI agents associated with criminal investigations of Donald Trump. I don't believe you were truthful. Firing FBI employees based solely on the cases that they are investigating, their case assignments, is illegal, and you know that. A new lawsuit that's been discussed numerous times, filed by 3 FBI officials, alleges that you carried out Donald Trump's campaign of retribution, in quotes, against FBI employees for, quote, failure to demonstrate sufficient political loyalty. One of those plaintiffs has been discussed today, Brian Driscoll. Now, we know 20 years of distinguished service to the FBI before you terminated him. Special agent in charge of FBI's Newark field office, where he operated with distinction. Medal of Valor winner, Shield of Bravery awards. He's a patriot. You terminated Driscoll via a letter dated October 8th, 2025, and in that letter you said that you were firing him pursuant to Article 2 of the Constitution. Well, you're not the President of the United States, and so I'm wondering under what authority you were allowed to terminate him.
That matter is under litigation, and I'm not able to discuss it.
Okay, well, discuss this. Did you have discussions with Stephen Miller about firing this particular person or about his continuance in the FBI?
Not that I recall.
How often do you speak to Stephen Miller?
Frequently on our Homeland Security task forces.
You frequently talk with Stephen Miller about subjects other than Homeland Security task force issues, correct?
I frequently talk to Mr. Miller about Homeland Security task forces.
Has Stephen Miller ever given you his opinions on how to run your agency?
Mr. Miller's interagency operations are invaluable to the FBI. That's what we talk about.
So you frequently discuss your job and your responsibilities with Stephen Miller and Pam Bondi, I imagine, as well.
Absolutely. She's the Attorney General.
Understood. Okay. Donald Trump promised to make us all safer. You have pushed out senior FBI agents with decades of knowledge and experience. In fact, this is the first time in FBI history that neither the director nor the deputy director have any experience with the FBI. You've shifted the agency's priorities primarily to pursuing Donald Trump's immigration enforcement agenda. According to ICE data, the Cato Institute, which is a conservative think tank, found that 20% of all agents have been diverted from their work to assist ICE immigration enforcement. 20%. Part of this operation is the work of mass law enforcement who jump out of cars, snatch people off streets at churches, schools, and their jobs and hospitals. Have there been any FBI agents who investigate crimes against children that have been assigned to immigration enforcement, yes or no?
The premise of what you say is entirely false.
Have there been any FBI agents who investigate
no.
foreign domestic terrorism?
You don't get to say the America is not safer under this leadership.
I am not saying
America
that.
is safer because of the work of the FBI.
You're making a presumption of premise.
4,700 children.
Sir,
we have seen 6,000 weapons and 23,000 violent felons have been arrested.
That FBI agents who investigate human trafficking have been reassigned to immigration enforcement. You are not denying that FBI agents who are on the task force that fight against Russian oligarchs have not been reassigned. Public Correction Squad reassigned. People who defend children reassigned. You're not denying that. I've seen you time and time again attack my colleagues' premises of questions as a way to not answer the question. So let me end with this. I believe you have made our country weaker and less safe. I believe that we are more vulnerable to a major event, and I pray to God it doesn't happen. You've gutted the Bureau of Institutional Knowledge and Expertise. You fired or pushed out seasoned FBI officials, many with more than 20 years of experience, and were working on cases that were critical. You've been purging thousands of serious law enforcement officials who spent their careers keeping us safe, only to lower hiring standards in order to find anyone to replace them. And shockingly, you admitted in this hearing to Senator Coons that it would take 14 years to fill the vacancies at your agency. Many are the result of your purge. 20% of FBI agents are doing low-level immigration enforcement instead of their mission-critical work. You've disbanded entire task forces that stop election interference, foreign influence, public corruption. And who benefits from this? Well, corrupt people benefit from it. Criminals benefit from it. Vladimir Putin benefits from it. And it really makes me wonder who you're looking out for. It makes me think we can't trust you as a nation. You swear to release the Epstein files, but now you're withholding the Epstein files. You claim that you have a suspect in a serious assassination. Whoops, then you don't have a suspect. You know nothing about plans to remove FBI agents, yet you're directly involved in those plans. In the words of an ex-FBI official, you are overseeing, and I quote, generational destruction of the nation's premier law enforcement agency. Mr. Patel, in just 8 months, you have assaulted the institutional integrity of the FBI. But I know FBI field agents. I've worked with them in Newark. No matter how truly bad you are, you can't undermine the legacy of agents who fight every day to keep us safe, but you can tarnish the integrity of the agency and undermine the agency's capacity. I believe you're failing as a leader, and that your failure does have serious implications for the safety and security of Americans and our families. We're more vulnerable to domestic and foreign attack because of your failures of leadership. I don't think you're fit to head the Bureau, but here's the thing, Mr. Patel. I think you're not going to be around long. I think this might be your last oversight hearing. Because as much as you supplicate yourself to the will of Donald Trump and not the Constitution of the United States of America, Donald Trump has shown us in his first term and in this term, he is not loyal to people like you. He will cut you loose. This may be the last time I have a hearing with you because I don't think you're long for your job. But I'm going to tell you this. I pray for you. I pray for you that you can step up and defend your oath, defend the Constitution, and do a much better job of defending this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do you want to say anything?
Yes, sir. That rant of false information does not bring this country together. If you want to work on bringing this country, it's my time, not yours.
My God.
If you want to talk about
dividing this country,
it is
I
my
follow
time.
you on your social media posts that
It is
tear
my
this country
time
apart.
to address
There should be a
your
unifying-
falsehoods.
Oh,
You are an
you can try
embarrassment
all
to the
you
division
want
in this country.
to not take
Senator,
responsibility
it is my time.
for what
You
you
had
have
your
said.
time.
Sir, you're
Your
making a
time is
mockery of this
over.
committee. Sir, you don't tell me my time is over.
You know
the
how
people
far
of New
we've
Jersey
come
tell me
since
what my
Utah?
time is.
Senator,
You can't lecture me.
You can tell me
Sir,
my time's over?
You may be the charge of the
I'm not
FBI,
going anywhere.
but I am not afraid of you, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Not afraid of you.
Mr. Chairman,
Today's hearing wasn't just another exchange between politicians. It was a debate over accountability, transparency, and whether America's premier law enforcement agency is serving the Constitution above politics. Watching Senator Cory Booker question FBI Director Kash Patel, one thing stood out to me immediately. Booker wasn't interested in speeches. He wanted direct answers. The first issue centered on whether Patel had discussions with the White House before he was officially confirmed about replacing FBI personnel. Booker repeatedly pressed him. Did those conversations happen? Patel acknowledged discussions about the kind of people he wanted working at the Bureau, but denied coordinating specific political removals. That distinction became one of the central points of disagreement throughout the hearing. From my perspective, regardless of which administration is in power, Americans deserve confidence that federal law enforcement decisions are based on professionalism and the law, not political loyalty. That's not a Republican issue. That's not a Democratic issue. That's an American issue. The hearing then shifted to Patel's grand jury testimony, connected to the Mar-a-Lago classified documents investigation. Booker argued Patel had previously suggested his testimony had been released publicly. Patel responded that the transcript itself should speak for what he said, and indicated he supported efforts to make it available through the proper legal process. Booker clearly wasn't satisfied. He kept asking for a simple yes or no answer. Patel declined to answer in the way Booker requested, saying he disagreed with the premise of the question. This is where oversight hearings become so important. Members of Congress have a responsibility to ask difficult questions. Government officials have a responsibility to answer within legal and ethical boundaries. When those two collide, viewers are left to judge for themselves whether enough transparency has been provided. Booker then turned to allegations involving FBI personnel changes. He argued experienced agents had been pushed out and referenced lawsuits alleging politically motivated retaliation. He specifically mentioned veteran FBI official Brian Driscoll and questioned Patel's authority in relation to personnel decisions. Patel declined to discuss the matter because it is currently being litigated. Now, that's a response we've heard many officials give over the years. Sometimes legal proceedings genuinely limit what can be discussed publicly. Other times, critics see it as avoiding accountability. Reasonable people can disagree. Another major issue involved staffing priorities. Booker argued that many FBI agents had been reassigned toward immigration enforcement instead of other investigative responsibilities, raising concerns about terrorism, public corruption, human trafficking, and election security. Patel pushed back, defending the Bureau's work and insisting the FBI continues to make America safer. This is a larger debate playing out across the country. How should federal law enforcement balance immigration enforcement with its many other responsibilities? That's a legitimate policy question. But it's also fair for Congress to ask whether those choices affect the FBI's ability to carry out its broader mission. The hearing reached its emotional peak during Booker's closing remarks. He accused Patel of weakening the FBI, undermining institutional experience, and failing to protect the Bureau's independence. Then Booker made a striking political prediction. He suggested Patel's position could be short-lived and argued that Donald Trump has a history of distancing himself from close allies. Whether that prediction proves correct remains to be seen, but it was certainly one of the hearing's most memorable moments. Patel attempted to respond. Booker interrupted, insisting his allotted time belonged to him. The exchange quickly became tense, with both men talking over each other before the chairman intervened. Watching this unfold, I kept thinking about what Americans should expect from public officials. Strong disagreement is part of democracy. Sharp oversight is part of democracy. But public trust depends on transparency, professionalism, and respect for the institutions that serve the American people. No matter where you fall politically, hearings like this remind us why checks and balances matter. Congress asks the questions. Executive officials provide answers. The public decides whether those answers are convincing. That's how accountability is supposed to work. This hearing won't end the debate over the FBI. It probably won't settle the questions surrounding personnel decisions or agency priorities. But it has certainly intensified the conversation. And if history is any guide, this won't be the last time Congress calls Director Patel back before lawmakers. One thing is certain, Americans will continue watching closely because confidence in our institutions matters, regardless of which party controls Washington. What do you think? Did Senator Booker raise important oversight questions, or do you think Director Patel adequately defended his decisions? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Blue Flash, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our coverage of the biggest political stories shaping America.